I
Yes,
really
sir.
enjoyed your conversation with Sam Farmer today.
Terrific.
I have a little boy who I told Sam this. My son is 9 years old, and I genuinely will wake up in the morning and he's already awake and he's listening to the Seahawks Locked On Seahawks podcast, and he's talking to me, at 6 o'clock in the morning as we drive to school about what what draft picks or what draft class is going to happen with the quarterbacks and all the different things. And he, that conversation was so interesting to me because he called me like genuinely both excited, almost in tears when Brady unretired. And then, with what's going on with all of this and the Seahawks and the Russell Wilson thing has made him, he's agitated.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to ask you, Josh, is like, whose job is it? Is it your job to explain to a 9-year-old why Russell Wilson has to go or why he felt he needed to go?
Well, I'm going to tell you what's interesting is that he's explaining it to me. I mean, truly,
that.
like this guy knows, my little boy knows, why, and yet he was very troubled by it, and he was confused. Like, why did the coach say what he said beforehand? And I was like, that's part of the politics, and that's the stuff he wants to try and break down. But we truly listen to the podcasts about the Seahawks and about the NFL and your show, driving to school, and he knows his stuff. He says at this point in his life he's going to play professional soccer, then retire in his late 20s and become a general manager for the Seahawks and volunteer for the job so that they can use the money they would save because he's a volunteer because he's made so much playing soccer.
Yes.
That they can use that for the salary.
Okay, so here's a few things.
I love the way he thinks.
Here's a few things. First of all, I'm relieved to hear he's coming for John Schneider's job, not mine. That's number one. Okay, because it sounds like he would be ready to sit in a seat like this one. Two, he is aware though that the Allen family owns the Seahawks, right? Okay. So then well, it's like saving an ounce of water out of the ocean. You know what I mean?
Well, but he still thinks they'll be able to use the money to get better players. Yeah. I was like, I don't know that the administrative jobs are going to be able to be worked into the salary cap, and he has an idea that that's what he's going to do.
And plus, you know what? I mean, we have to connect because I'd love to talk to him. Secondly, if he wants to ever call in and give his opinions on the Seahawks, I love having kids talk about this sort of stuff. Because not only do they know, but out of the mouths of babes comes material that you won't expect. And then on top of it, I mean, Seahawks fans, the day that Russell Wilson got traded and Bobby Wagner gets cut was truly one of the most difficult days for any Seahawks fan. 9, 19, 29, 90, like it doesn't matter what age you are.
It was shaking. It was. Look, I am developing, I'm not pushing this development inside of him, but it's truly to see a kid who's got this level of passion, and I understand why. I mean, truly, the NFL right now is the most powerful force in entertainment on earth, and whatever they're doing, and I spoke to your guest Sam about this this morning in your waiting room, your lovely waiting room.
Thank you, sir.
Why? And it's because whatever Roger Goodell is doing in terms of the Rubik's Cube of how he's moving it, to push it and change it and shift it. And Sam said something interesting. He said, Roger Goodell's brilliance is partly in the idea that they're never saying, oh, well, the thing we did on April 1st last year, we're going to do again this year.
Right.
He said, he said success is a problem, and that whatever is happening within the NFL, dislike it, love it, whatever you want, it's the greatest entertainment maybe we've seen in our lifetime.
Well, I can personally attest that the commissioner, when he first took the job, looked at everything that the NFL had been doing and saying, well, how can we improve it or change it or whatever, that there are no sacred cows. There really are not. And so, the draft went from a 2-day weekend event in New York to a 2-night, 3-day event that now travels the country. That's just a perfect example of how things have completely changed. But the NFL is the greatest narrative generating machine ever, and maybe even in entertainment, where it is the ultimate reality show.
Exactly. We saw that with the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
oh sure, yeah. and the stage. I mean, that stadium is
it's
insane.
It's extraordinary.
It's truly one of the most. How did your 9-year-old take the visual and audio assault that stadium? And I shouldn't use that word. Well, but it is quite something. That Oculus that hangs from the ceiling of SoFi, is.
that was a big experience
Something.
for him and I, and it's something that I can tell you I learned from that day, because I know this kid's passion for football is so extreme.
Father-son Super Bowl outing.
That I said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can pull some strings and get tickets, and I was not able to. But I then decided, all right, man, bite the bullet and pay for some tickets, right?
Wow.
Which I'm the sort of
That's
guy.
quite a bullet.
But I'm the guy who doesn't do that in my life. I think any. If I have a hard time spending money that I think is frivolous, right? I really do, and it's maybe you could say a weakness or a strength of mine. So, but I knew this kid's passion was so extreme, and I kept looking at tickets, and I kept going, and I kept going, and kept going, and so we went to the NFL Experience on Saturday.
Yeah.
And while we were at the NFL Experience, I kept clicking on the refresh button, and suddenly these tickets came up that were, frankly, not crazy expensive.
Right.
And I bought them, and we arrived the next morning when the stadium opened. We were waiting outside when the stadium opened. We went in, and it was one of the best days of my life. And I tell you, I walked away from the experience with my son and driving home, and I thought, I want to do more of this in my life. I want not spend money frivolously, but like you work hard, and I want to give this kid and me and him and the experience of enjoying our life, partly is what it is. But it was, look, it was beyond a beautiful experience for him and I that he will remember for the rest of his life, and as will I.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.